3 misconceptions about transmittal sheets. This month, we talk about transmittal sheets and 3 misconceptions that people have about them. But let's start with a quick introduction about what is a transmittal sheet. A transmittal sheet is a form that is filled out and attached when we formally send a document or a package of documents to either an external party or an internal party. Using transmittal sheets to formally send documents to an external party, for example, a client, a contractor, or a regulatory body, is the best and recommended practice. Using transmittal sheets to formally send documents to an internal party, for example, another department or a subsidiary within the same company, is a good practice too. It is less common though. The transmittal sheet provides a record and constitutes a piece of evidence. It ensures the traceability of document deliveries. It is prepared by the document controller of the entity sending documents, and it is received and checked by the DC of the recipient entity. Let's use a scenario where we have 2 companies or entities. Let's call them Entity 1 and Entity 2. When ready to send a document to Entity 2, the document controller of Entity 1 will prepare a transmittal sheet and will send it along with the document to the document controller of Entity number 2. Together, the document and the transmittal sheet are called transmittal package. The transmittal sheet is signed by both parties. The sending party engages their responsibility through signature of the form, and the recipient party is expected to verify the accuracy of the delivery and of the record, and to acknowledge receipt of the document package and engage their responsibility through counter-signature of the form. Both parties file a copy of the record. A transmittal sheet translates to plain English as follows. This uniquely referenced piece of evidence shows that today I, representative of Entity 1, have sent the tabulated documents to the representative of Entity 2. Detailed metadata regarding the attached documents are provided for exact reference and evidence. A transmittal sheet is evidence of having sent specific documents to a specific entity, evidence that the other party has received these specific documents, evidence of the date and time when documents and knowledge was transferred from one entity to another one, an official record of what was sent to whom, when, and for what reasons, a clean and clear record that can stand in court in case of conflict, disagreement, or in case of investigation following a serious incident or accident. So now that we have recapped on the concept of transmittal sheets, let's see 3 misconceptions about them. Misconception number 1. Transmittal sheets are a thing of the past. We sometimes hear people say that transmittal sheets are a thing of the past, and this statement often refers to new technologies such as eDMS software applications, emails, etc. It says that these technologies replace the transmittal sheets, the premise being, if I'm sending a document electronically, I don't need a transmittal sheet. Or, we are sharing the same eDMS with all other companies of the same project, so no need to send formally documents as they all have access already. But as we mentioned earlier, this is wrong. Why? Transmittal sheets will be required as long as there is the possibility or risk of having a conflict or disagreement, which we can bet is pretty much forever. Remember, transmittal sheets are used as evidence that can stand in court in case of conflict, disagreement, or in case of investigation following a serious incident or accident. For example, we can use transmittal sheets to prove that someone had knowledge about a critical information at a certain date, even if that person is now denying it. Another example, we can use transmittal sheets to prove that we have sent a crucial document to the client on time before activity started on site, and that the client received it and acknowledged it. One last example, we can use transmittal sheets to prove that all that was possible to do to prevent an accident was done with due diligence. To help understand that concept, let's take an out-of-work example. Let's say you want to buy a new washing machine.
I want to buy a washing machine XLP2350, please. I'm afraid we do not have it in store. We will need to order it for you. Fine, I wish to order it. That will be $1,200, please. There you go. When can I collect it? Thursday next week. Do I not get a receipt of payment? Well, I'll give you this note. It should be fine. Thursday, the week after. I'm here to collect my washing machine. Can I have your receipt? Here. This is not a receipt, sir. Next customer.
And indeed, the receipt given on the week before did not mention the reference of the ordered item, the price paid, the name of the client, nor the name of the salesperson, and was not issued on official company letterhead. The receipt is therefore not official and cannot be enforced in court in case something goes wrong. So, to come back to our work environment, new technologies help us on a lot of tasks, but they are not the answer to everything. Whatever means you are using to transfer documents and information to other parties, make sure that you have a formal record of transmittal, you can prove the integrity of the record, you have evidence of receipt and acceptance, you have an undisputable timestamp of when the package was sent, the transmittal is signed by the sender as well as by the recipient. You have a clean and easy record. Even 10 years later, you can find the relevant information about who sent what, to whom, and when in less than 5 minutes. There is no room for disagreement whatsoever about what has been delivered. A special disclaimer on EDMSs and shared collaborative document management systems accessed by several companies, for example. You must think of the long-term availability of records. Will this EDMS and all records and data within it still be accessible 20 years from now? Most EDMS systems have a lifespan of less than 10 years. That's how long most companies use them before moving on to a new system. Not all records kept in the EDMS can be exported and migrated to a different system. Documents and their description metadata can be exported from an old EDMS and migrated to a new one, but some records kept in the EDMS cannot be exported and migrated easily to a different system. Typically, that's data of approval workflows, for example, who approved what, when, as well as who were the reviewers on a certain document, what did they have to say at the time, etc. A second issue to consider is your company the owner of the EDMS, or are you accessing the document management system of another company, for example through a shared project database? In this case, will you still have access to this system in the future when the project is over? What if the company owning the system, for example the client, cuts off your access? And in case of conflict or disagreement, will you still be able to prove anything and provide evidence in court if you don't have access to the documents, records, and system anymore? Don't assume it has already been considered in your company. These are critical topics to be discussed. Misconception number 2. Sending a document by email is the same as sending with a transmittal sheet. We sometimes hear people say, sending a document by email is the same as sending with a transmittal sheet. Or, I'm sending documents by email. Do I need to also send a transmittal sheet? The premise being, the email is some sort of record with a timestamp and sent to a specific entity. So surely there is no need to also send a transmittal sheet. But as we mentioned earlier, this is wrong. Why? An email alone is not the same as a transmittal sheet, and it cannot serve the same purpose. In the table below, you have a list of the requirements for an editable, clean, and traceable record of transmittal, and we are going to compare what the transmittal sheet covers and what the email covers. The first requirement is to have a formal date and time of transmittal. This is both covered by the transmittal sheet and the email. Next requirement, we need a record that says who precisely sent documents, as well as who received the documents. The transmittal sheet provides that because it includes the full name, the job function, the company name and address of both the sender and the recipient. The email only partially covers that. At best, it only includes name and email address in the official metadata of the email. But if you are using a shared email address, either for the sender or the recipient, it makes it impossible to prove the specific person that sent the email or received the email. Another requirement, formal signature of the sender. This is covered in the transmittal sheet as we have seen, but not in the email. Formal signature of the recipient in the form of an acknowledgement of receipts signed on the transmittal. This is covered by the transmittal sheet, but not by the email. One of the requirements is that the acknowledgement of receipt is also an acceptance of the document package. The transmittal sheet provides that because the recipient will only sign the acknowledgement of receipt once they have checked the incoming package and they agree that it is acceptable from the document control standpoint. The email doesn't provide that. Even if you are adding a read receipt on the email when you are sending it, the read receipt only proves that an email was opened by a certain person on a certain date, but it doesn't prove what was attached. It doesn't even say whether there was an attachment or not, and if the attachment was correct and acceptable or not. And once the email is printed for a court case, for example, you cannot prove what was attached to it. Another requirement is the evidence of what exactly was attached. We have that with the transmittal sheet, but not with the email. A very important requirement is that you can find the relevant information in less than 5 minutes. The transmittal sheet provides that, but the email doesn't. For example, try and locate a specific email that was sent 10 years ago within tens of thousands of emails exchanged since then. In many investigations, it takes weeks, months to find anything through emails. And that is if you can find anything at all, because it's sometimes so messy that you cannot find what you are looking for. People who say that sending a document by email is the same as sending with a transmittal sheet have clearly never been part of an investigation team. With emails, an incident occurring 20 years after a build means that investigators must look through literally tens or hundreds of thousands of emails, and sometimes even millions. A transmittal provides a clean and fast audit trail, which an email does not, especially when a significant amount of time has elapsed. An investigation that long and that complex has a significant cost impact, with the cost of investigators and that of lawyers spending weeks and months going through years and decades worth of emails at costs ranging from tens of thousands of dollars to sometimes millions. We invite you to have a look at the Document Control Tribune number 20, which focuses on how document control is a provider of evidence, and specifically articles on page 8 and page 11. You can download the Document Control Tribune number 20 at this address, www.conceptsys.com/Tribune20. One more requirement is that the evidence must stand in court, which the transmittal sheet will provide, but not necessarily the email. Misconception number 3. A transmittal sheet is only in paper and only applicable to hard copy documents. We sometimes hear people say, a transmittal sheet is only in paper and only applicable to hard copy documents. Or, I'm not using transmittal sheets because I manage only electronic documents, no hard copies. But as we mentioned earlier, this is wrong. Why? Transmittal sheets apply both to electronic and hard copy documents. Even if you never manage hard copies, you still need to use transmittal sheets to be used as records and evidence. And by the way, a transmittal sheet can be produced and published in an electronic format. It does not have to be printed. The transmittal package can be an electronic format, and it can be sent electronically to the other entity, for example, by email, through an EDMS, an FTP server, etc. The signature on transmittal sheets, both by the sender and the recipient, can usually be done using electronic signature software. It has to be agreed between both parties. If you wish to know more about document control and improve your skills in and around the document control profession, join us in one of our courses, which allow to develop your skills and get your career on the right track. We have different courses, each one designed to accompany you throughout your career in document control. You can find the link in the description below. If you currently use transmittal sheets, write yes in the comments below. If you are not currently using transmittal sheets, will you consider using transmittal sheets in the future? Write consider in the comments below. We regularly release new content on document control, so don't forget to subscribe to this channel, to like this video, and to hit the notification bell to be notified of any useful new content.